Hey, Tim Frisch here, bringing you another Bible review from a Frisch perspective. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the Legacy Standard Bible Inside Column Reference Bible. This is a new edition from Steadfast Bibles, and I think also a highly anticipated edition because of some of the features that you're going to see as we look at this in detail. Also, I'm excited in this video not only to look at the Bible, but to compare it to some other interesting editions, such as this 1970s New American Standard Bible. If you are interested in the Bible that we're looking at in this video, or maybe you already have it, let me know what you think in the comment section. I love to hear people's thoughts in the comment section. Also, if you like content like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification. But with all of that, let's take a look at the Legacy Standard Bible Inside Column Reference Bible. Here is a look at the box. It is a two-piece box. The front here tells you that it has 95,000 references and 14,000 footnotes. So nicely designed box. The bottom of the box is just plain white. But the side here does tell you about the features of this Bible. One thing that people are really excited about, I'm sure, is the 40 GSM Bible paper. It is Smyth-sewn binding, and this one is printed and bound in Korea. And then the other side of the box gives you the 3 commitments of the LSB Bible translation, and you also have the ISBN number here. Again, this is the black Cowhide edition that we're looking at. Thank you so much to Steadfast Bibles 316 Publishing for sending me this Bible for review. So the first thing I want to talk about with this Bible is its construction. This Cowhide edition has a paste down liner. It is a vinyl paste down. And honestly, I really like paste down Bibles sometimes because they do tend to lay very flat. If they're constructed in such a way that they have flexibility to them, I think that the paste down liner actually allows the Bible to lay really flat. Edgeline tends to have more of that hump to it. So that's one thing I do like. And this is not a paper paste down. This is a vinyl paste down. So it's a little bit more sturdy than just a paper paste down liner. Also at the front and back of this edition, you do have cardstock pages, which I think just add to the sturdiness of this construction and give it more of a hefty feel. And then also something I noticed about the construction of this is that I did see what looks to be overcast stitching at the front of the Bible here. Now it's probably a little hard to see in this lighting, but hopefully you can see some of that overcast stitching inside here. And I noticed that too on this page. So if I'm seeing this correctly, and I could of course be mistaken, but to me this looks like there is overcast stitching in this Bible, which adds to the sturdiness of the construction, which is good for a big Bible like this. You really need to have sturdiness in the way that this is bound. Now, one thing I do want to mention, and this has been a complaint about this particular Bible, is that some people, especially with the edge-lined editions, the goatskin edge-lined, have talked about some splitting with the pages. So some of the signatures of the text block apparently are splitting. So there's some separation there that is occurring. Now, this is the Cowhide edition paste down liner. I'm not seeing any problems with the construction of this Bible. And the other thing I want to mention is that Steadfast Bibles is aware of some of the issues with the construction, and they are making sure that people are able to return any Bibles that have issues, and they will replace any Bibles that have problems. So even if that were an issue, they will replace your Bible or repair it if you've already written in it. But I think for the most part, that's not really an issue. I think it's just a relatively low percentage of Bibles. And also they're aware of the issue, so even now I think you're going to see that's less and less of a problem as they take care of that issue and have those Bibles repaired and replaced. So I don't think that's really long-term going to be a problem, but I know that was an issue for some people. What I'm noticing with this Bible, though, is the glue is there and seems to be applied very well and evenly. So the construction of the Bible I'm looking at here is really good. And I think this will last pretty long. Now, it is a big Bible, so that puts a lot of strain on the spine, but I think this is going to last a long time. And certainly if you get it rebound, that's another option for you if you want to ensure that this is going to last a long time. So that's the construction. Let's look at the aesthetics of this particular Bible. This is the black cowhide. You can see it has a really nice grain pattern to it. The cowhide, I would say, is not as stiff as like a pigskin. Pigskin can be very stiff. Some of those genuine leather Bibles. This has a little more flexibility to it, but it's not as flexible as like an edge-lined goatskin Bible. Which honestly is kind of nice with a Bible this big, maybe to have something a little bit more firm for a cover. As you can see, it's not overly floppy. And it is perimeter stitched. Also, the spine has a really nice look to it. It has really kind of an unusual distribution of spine hubs, but it's unique and it looks very handsome. And you can see the stamping here. One thing I like is some people will complain that some spines have too much information on the side, but I think they struck a nice balance here. They do have some information. Looks really nice with the Legacy Standard Bible logo, everything right in the center there, and then Holy Bible at the top, Steadfast Bibles at the bottom. I think it has a nice balanced look, and it's not too much. So that's really nice. And then this edition has gold gilt page edges. There's no red under gold. You'd have to get the goatskin edgeline edition, the premium edition for the art gilt. But this is gold edge pages. And then it also has two ribbons, a gold ribbon and a black ribbon. And they look very nice. They're double-sided satin, angle cut, and have a very nice look to them, matching with the color scheme here, gold and black. So very understated, but I think for a reference Bible, I don't necessarily want something that looks overly elaborate. I just want something that is going to work. And I think that this has a little bit more of a straightforward look to it. It's not frilly or over elaborate, but for a reference Bible, I think it will appeal to a lot of people. They do have other cover options though, depending on your tastes and preferences. What's really great about this Bible though is when we get inside it. And first of all, the formatting of it is wonderful. It's really nicely designed by 2K Denmark. You have an 11-point font. You have cross references on the inside column there. And then at the bottom of the page on the inside column, you have translator notes. You also see here that the verse numbers are at the side, and the stanza separations here are denoted by a bold verse number. If you are in regular typeset, not poetry, but prose, you do see paragraph designations with a bold verse number. You also have section headings. You have some red highlights. So for example, the chapter numbers are in red. The top information at the top of the page is in red print. And it is line matched. So this, I think, is an edition that really appeals to a lot of people, the way that this is formatted. Because those references are on the inside, it really puts the Bible text on the center of the page, laying nice and flat, so you don't have a problem with the Bible text going down into the gutter. It looks really nice in the poetic settings with that single column formatting. And I think another thing that's really exciting for people is the paperweight. As I mentioned earlier on, this is a 40 GSM paper. Now, that does make for a big, hefty Bible, but what's nice about this paper is it just really has a sturdy feel to it, and it's nice turning those pages. I think I did have to really take a lot of time to unstick these pages in this particular edition, but once I did that, this paper just has a fantastic feel to it. And that's what's really nice about 40 GSM. 20 GSM, anything in the 20s tends to have kind of a flimsy feel, although really good quality paper isn't going to be flimsy, even if it's in that 20-something GSM paper, but it tends to feel a little lighter and flimsier. 30s, people tend to like that because of the feel of it seeming a little heftier. And when you get into this 40 GSM, it really feels like something you would expect in a reference volume, which is what this is. Another thing I really like about this Bible, as we get past the Old Testament into the New Testament, you can just see it just has such a nice design. I love the font choices that they made in this Bible for everything that they've done here. I think it just has such a nice look to it. Everything really coordinates very well. And you see that here with the New Testament title page and the decorative design here. It just has such a really beautiful look to it. And it's just enough. It's not too much to where it looks overly ornate, and yet I think it looks really well designed and just complements the look of what Scripture is, that this is God's Word. And you see here in the New Testament, it is a black letter text for the words of Christ. One other thing I will show you about this Bible is just the material you're getting at the front and back. And of course, at the front here, you have your title page. Here's the copyright information. It does say here, as you can see, it's typeset by 2K Denmark, printed in Korea, and this printing is December 2022. Here are the ISBN numbers for some of the other editions of this Bible. Here is the foreword to the Legacy Standard Bible. And then you have the contents. And after that, you have your Old Testament title page. And you get right into the biblical text. At the end of the Bible, after the book of Revelation, you have a monetary units page here, weights and measurements. Then you have the concordance. So again, really good reference material in this Bible, which is what you would expect for a reference volume. And after the concordance here, you have your maps, the Lockman maps that they've had in their Bibles for a long time. But nice and colorful, very useful. They are on glossy cardstock paper. And then you've got that cardstock at the back of the Bible. So reinforced really nicely. I am very impressed with this Bible. And I would say for anybody who wonders, should I get the paste down edition? Is that a good option? Absolutely. What I'm looking at here, I think this is a good option. If you want something kind of in between, something that's imitation leather or hardcover versus edge-line goatskin, this is kind of that nice mid option if that's what you're looking for. One thing I thought would be really interesting would be to compare it to other editions of the NASB Bible that might be a little similar. And the LSB is an update of the New American Standard Bible, in case you didn't know that. I've done quite a few videos on the Legacy Standard Bible translation. But here is an old New American Standard Bible. It kind of sounds funny, an old New American Standard Bible. But this is printed in the 1970s from Holman, the A.J. Holman Company. And the last copyright that I see here is 1973. So we have a 1970s edition. And what I wanted to show you is kind of the continuity of how a lot of the NASBs have been formatted. These are both single column, verse by verse format. But obviously you can see one of the differences that have been made here with the LSB is that you have all the reference material in the inner column versus the outer column in this older edition. They did have lines here in this 70s edition to separate from the Bible text. One thing I like about these old ones, though, is they really actually pretty manageable and easy to hold. You can take this with you places, and it's not super big, whereas the LSB, I will say, it's a very hefty Bible. But for a reference Bible, I'm totally fine with it being the size that it is. And that 40 GSM paper is very nice. Now, some paper that isn't as nice is what we see in the Lockman Foundation NASB 95. This is a side column reference Bible from probably around 2017, 2018, and the paper by that time really wasn't as nice as earlier Lockman Bibles. Now, their recent printings have gotten better with their NASB 2020, but this 95 side column reference, the paper isn't the best. But you see here, you do have a line separating here, no line on the outside now, but there is more margin space than what you saw in that 70s edition and this LSB here. So that's one nice thing about these Bibles, is you do have that margin space. If this print had been a little bit smaller, maybe they could have gotten some more margin space in this Bible. But for me, my preferences, I like this. I guess some people would say they wish it had more margin space, but it's really just a preference thing. So one thing, though, that is definitely better is just the print quality of this, that line match text and the nice paper here, definitely an improvement over the Lockman Foundation Bible here. Another Bible that is interesting to compare to is the Zondervan New American Standard Bible. This is a 95 NASB 95 edition. And this has very nice paper. I think it's a 36 GSM paper. So both of these are really good as far as they're both line matched, not a lot of ghosting. I think there are more translator notes in the LSB edition. So that's one of the disadvantages of the Zondervan Bibles. Some of them have a more condensed set of translator notes. That being said, this is formatted very nicely, and you are getting, with these other Bibles that I'm showing, a little bit more thin, easier to carry Bible than the LSB ICR. So it really just is a matter of preference. These are both very good options. And some of it just depends on, do you prefer the NASB 95 or the Legacy Standard Bible translation? But I mean, there are some great options now in this family of Bibles. So that's the Zondervan Premier Collection Bible. And one other one that I think is great to compare to is a new Bible from the Lockman Foundation. This is the Wide Margin Reference Bible. It's kind of an update to the Lockman Bible that I showed before. It has the same formatting as the Schuyler Strident. What's great about this one is you do have better paper than the previous Lockman that I showed. You have a 10-point font, verse by verse, single column format, and you do have margin space. The cross references and translator notes are at the bottom of the page. So it's really just a matter of which translation and formatting that you prefer. Both of these have good paper. This is a lighter paper than what we're seeing in the LSB, but it does make for, again, a more manageable Bible. The Lockman Bible is easier, I would say, to hold and carry. It's a little bit lighter feel to it. But for some people, that doesn't matter. If they're going to have a reference Bible, they don't mind it being nice and large. And again, as you compare these, really both of these have a lot going for them just in terms of their readability, the way that they're formatted. They're both very nice options. So this is a new Bible from the Lockman Foundation, and people are really happy with this one too. And you can see here it compares very nicely, but the LSB ICR is fantastic in its formatting and printing. And you can see that as you look at it in comparison to these other Bibles. So in looking at this Bible, I think you can see that Steadfast Bibles is really offering a really nice set of options of the Legacy Standard Bible, and this is a wonderful addition to the lineup that they're offering. I think that the quality and variety that I'm seeing in their Bibles for such a small and relatively new company is really impressive. So great job, Steadfast Bibles 316 Publishing. Again, thank you for sending me this Bible for review. And if you have any questions or comments about what we've talked about in this video, I'd love to see that in the comments section below. But thank you so much for taking a look at this Bible with me from a fresh perspective.